Industry Bill, which is now the Petroleum Industry Act. Now, contrary to expectations that the signing of the Petroleum Industry Act would automatically commence the deregulation of the petroleum downstream sector, especially the removal of subsidy, the federal government has stated that the retail price of petrol will remain at 162 naira per litre until a feasible framework is developed. Now, the government has so far spent 438.37 billion naira on subsidy payments as of reports from June this year. Now, the removal of subsidy is likely to lead to an upward price retail band of about 400 naira per litre. Now, Minister of Petroleum Resources Timipre Silva noted that although the new Petroleum Act has deregulated the oil sector, subsidy policy will remain in place till further notice. Now, the Group General Manager in charge of Public Affairs Division of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Garba Mohammed, confirmed yesterday that the fuel subsidy would also remain pending the outcome of the current negotiations with labor unions in the country. He also says that there would be chaos in the country if the subsidy was removed immediately. Meanwhile, the minister also notes that the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation will become a commercial company within 6 months, and all shares in the NNPC Limited are expected to be vested in the government at incorporation and also held by the Ministry of Finance. Well, joining me now live in our Lagos studio to discuss all of these matters arising and much more, I have Adeola Yusuf, Team Lead, Platforms Africa. Good to have you on the breakfast show this morning.
My pleasure.
Now, contrary to the expectations, we were expecting that once we have the presidential assent to the bill, which is now the Petroleum Industry Act, we would have subsidy regime come to an end. That was the initial impression we had. But now government is saying it's still going to be on despite the expectation, and then there are still some fine lines that have to be attended to. Do you understand, or do you think this is the best approach for Nigeria at this point in time following the signing of this bill into an act?
Okay, thank you so much. Subsidy, its removal or its retainership, it's something that is multidimensional when you want to understand it. There is an aspect of the politics to it. There is an aspect of economy to it. So looking at it holistically, you will see that what the government has done by the signing of PIB into law is to try to get a legal framework as to when it's time for it to implement it. So the other step the government has taken by saying that they are developing framework before that will be implemented is the political aspect of it. But I'm not a lawyer, but except there is a maturity stage for every law. What this means is that a Nigerian or a business entity in the country can go to court and challenge the government because now subsidy has been outlawed based on that president assent to that bill. So, like I said, for Nigeria, one cannot say specifically that what the government has done is the right thing or not. They are there, they are the ones seeing what is going to be the likely reaction of Nigerians.
Do you understand the sentiment of Mr. Mohammed also stating that if the subsidy is removed now, there will be chaos? So within the timeline that we're expecting this legal governance and fiscal framework to be developed, what sort of social cushions do you expect to be put in place? Because by the time we have the removal, we already have the landing cost at about 250 naira. So this 162 we are paying now, or 165, is no longer going to be feasible. We're looking at about 350, 400, 450 thereabouts, max 500 naira per litre. What sort of social cushions do you think we should start having? What sort of conversations do you think we should also be putting in place, and then infrastructure to just ensure that once we have the subsidy removal put in place, Nigerians don't have to pay through their nose? The pinch wouldn't be so harsh.
Okay, first of all, I want to align with the sentiment or the declaration by the Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division of NNPC, Garbadin, that if subsidy is removed now, it's going to cause chaos. Everyone knows this is not the first time. The tension has, risen to the apogee. Anything like subsidy removal at this time will. I was speaking with I think National Controller of IPMAN a few days ago, And he said that immediately that is signed, what that will mean is that the price of petroleum and premium motor spirit will sell at 300 naira per liter. So Nigerians cannot afford that now. What that is going to bring will be something that government may not be able to manage. So I think they have been able to, test the water. They've been able to see that a removal of subsidy at this time around, which will automatically, affected the pump price of petrol, will lead to a serious problem for them. So I think they are trying to look at ways of but one fundamental about this is that looking at it legally, now government is doing what is illegal.
Exactly.
Yes, so government is doing what is illegal. But just like I said, it's something that is not seen from one perspective. There is a legal perspective to it. There is a political perspective. There is an economic perspective to it. Out of all, now, legally, it is not right. Economically it's not right, but politically you can't say it's not right, because if government will remove, nobody will even advise government to do anything that will make the pump price of petrol to jump as high as 400 naira or 500 naira. It is going to cause a lot of problems. And going back to the question you have asked about the social moves that government should make to ensure that the effect of that is cushion, I will talk about what government has said he has done, and I'll talk about what I think government should do. Government has said that he has rolled out or he has given the contract of rolling out mass transit buses, that are going to be distributed across the states. They said that those buses will be the one that will be using, gas, not petrol, and is going to ensure. I mean, they are going to use that to ensure that the fare that people are paying on transport will not be as high as possible. Whether that will be realistic or not, it depends on government. Another plans that government has said he has put on the table is ensuring that there is so much attention given to gas. So that people that are hitherto using petrol will now be using gas. Government has said that it has been able to convert a number of vehicles that are using petrol into the CNG usage, and government has said that a number of stations are being established around the country to ensure that vehicles are converted, and those vehicles that are converted into gas are using gas. Whether that is visible, whether those Nigerians are hearing me, whether that has already been in place or not, will depend on all of us. But fundamentally, what I think the government should do is to ensure that they are removing or they are reducing attention drastically given to the oil and gas into other sectors. I've said it on this program. We have tourism, we have agric, we have ICT. Government should ensure that the money is making on oil and gas are being re-injected into these sectors, because whether we like it or not, there was a time that people told us that it is going to happen. Those that are using typewriters, that very, very soon they won't see any job to do. We thought that was about 10 years ago. But today, you cannot call yourself a typewriter and see any job, because the development has, overtaken that. So now, development are already overtaking this fossil fuel that we're talking about, and it's best for government to start looking towards ensuring that, it's following the trend.
Let's also look at another issue to this presidential assent of the PIB, and also looking at the fact that the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation will become a commercial company in about 6 months' time. How do you think this would also enhance the profitability of the company and also transparency framework really within this regard? Okay,
another very, very good aspect or provision in this PIB is that provision we've just talked about. Before now, or let me say until the appointment of the current GMD of NNPC, Malamili Kriari, there has been a lot of issues that we have raised about NNPC transparency and accountability. And when he came on board, he has been able to, based on his own volition, based on his own integrity, been able to execute a number of policies that have put NNPC on that pedestal of transparency and accountability. You know, for the first time in the history, over 40 years history of the corporation, the monthly financial operation and operational you know, reports have been published. For the first time ever, the 2018 and 2019 audited reports have been published. So now what he has been able to do, there is now a legal backing for it now. Okay. So it's going to continue, whether it's there or not. That will continue because there's a provision, a legal provision for that.
Well, with this document signed now, a whole lot of pressure is on the government. This is a test to how much it can implement the policies. Once again, we wouldn't want to see a failed policy or just stuff written on paper. We want to see some change effected. Thank you very much for your time at the Breakfast Show this morning. Adiola Yusuf, it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much for